Hello everybody, I hope you're doing well. My name's William and welcome back to Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. Today we're going to be doing another FSEconomy flight in the Cessna 208 Grand Caravan. We'll be picking up where we left off at Kake and going on for a short little flight, hopefully to some more beautiful areas in Alaska as we fly along. So we'll go ahead and get into the planning. I hope you all enjoy the flight. Just quick planning for the flight here. We'll start on the FSEconomy page. You can see our loadout for this in the loading area. We just have 5 passengers. We're taken up to Snettisham, which is 71 nautical miles, almost directly to the north, departing out of Kake. We do need to add some fuel to the 208. We don't need to. We could make it as is right now, but we might as well. So we'll go ahead and top up the tank to about 85 gallons, and we'll roll with that for the flight there. We do have fuel available to us if we need it at Snettisham. But that is basically it as far as the flight is concerned. You can take a look here on SkyVector just to get an idea of what the flight looks like. We're going to be departing out of Kake. We'll probably be using runway 29, flying out over Frederick Sound, and then going up to the north along Stevens Passage, all the way in, and then kind of off into this little cove down into Snettisham. Hopefully we'd have no weather around the area, but we're close enough to Juneau and everything. It looks like it should be clear for us for our flight today, so hopefully we'll be able to make it in no problem. So that is the plan for the flight. Let's go ahead and get onto the plane and get on with it. Alright everyone, welcome on board the Cessna 208 here on the ramp at Kake. We can see we got our FSEconomy client open. Our aircraft is available on the ground, so we'll go ahead and go action and start flight. Make sure our 5 passengers load up. And there they are. So we'll go ahead and hide the client now as we go through and get the aircraft ready to start up. We'll open up the fuel tanks here. Go ahead and hide the yoke so we can see a little bit more. Get that on full. Alright, so we need to get the battery on. Get our beacon light on. Gotta go ahead and get our avionics on as well. Let's wait for the screens to come up. We'll press our soft key, make sure we've got everything up, and it looks like it's okay. So we'll go ahead now and go for, make sure our ignition's on, all this. We'll go for the fuel boost on, and we will click the starter. So we do have our parking brake set, we do. We'll wait until the
test. Okay.
Oil pressure's out of the red there, and then we'll throw the condition lever into low. Fuel flow is right there. We got good oil pressure. Everything else is climbing up. Just monitor now, make sure we get a good start. And I believe I'm supposed to turn the fuel boost off here in just a moment. We'll get the starter off as well. Go ahead and go fuel boost off, starter off. Everything looks good, so we'll go ahead and pull the power on back. We're on the ramp here. We're on the side by runway 11 at Kake. Because of the terrain and the wind, I think we're going to use runway 29, which is all the way down on the other end. As you can see, 29 all the way down over there. So I'm going to go ahead and go through, get the aircraft a little bit set up, and we'll get on with our taxi in just a moment. Okay, so we are ready to taxi now. We'll go ahead and go for runway 29 here at Kake. Go ahead and say thank you to the ground crew for all their help. So we get our parking brake on, our taxi light off so they know we're about to move. And we will make our right turn. Like I said, we're going to use 29, so I'm going to go ahead and back taxi all the way down. The wind is calm here, but if I remember correct, get some pretty decent terrain on the end of that runway, and it looks like it's nice and clear off if we depart runway 29. So we'll just take a look and double check. Yeah, you can already see the big trees and everything. Yeah, I remember flying over that on the way in, so I don't think we want to necessarily deal with that, but it looks like it is clear all the way around. So we'll go ahead and light ourselves up a little bit more. Get our transponder on. We take the runway, we'll go ahead and get our flaps out and put the condition lever into the full position there, that we don't forget. Let's take the runway and back taxi. We'll be getting ready for our departure here. Alright, so we work our way down to the end. I think, as always, we're basically just going to try and hand fly this on the way, but we are going to depart, fly up and kind of around the island a little bit. Like I said, we'll get into, I think what was it, Frederick Sound, something along those lines, and then we'll follow the pass all the way up into Snettisham. Easy enough for me to say. We're planning 6,500 feet for the altitude today, and as always on the departures here, we'll be looking for 70 knots to rotate and climbing out somewhere around 100 knots, up to 6,500, not very far, but we don't have a very far flight. We're looking at just about 80 miles, really. So since we are actually allowed to use this for our takeoff, we might as well give ourselves a little bit of extra room. Let's start slowing down and turn ourselves around. Certainly is creaky today. Alright, as we line ourselves up, we go ahead and select a vertical speed mode, do 1,000 feet per minute, get that plugged in, and we will sync up our heading mode, or to our current heading, and we'll arm a heading mode as well. So let's go ahead and go for our takeoff, slowly add the power in here. We can start our roll. Almost caught it. Just got a flash of the red there, so we'll try and hold center line here. Airspeed is alive. We're looking for 70 knots. For 60. And 70. We got a little bit of help with that bump as we climbed up over it. We'll go for some altitude right off the bat here, and then we'll pitch the nose back down to get our flaps in. Keep the climb up. Keep flying runway heading. See, we don't want to make a right turn for sure. We got some open water and everything off to our left. We keep flying up on this heading 290. It'll take us basically up around the point of the island and get us on our way. Pull the power back just a little bit. It's a nice calm day. Early morning here though. I think we could make our turn and cross over the island now if we want to. Put ourselves nice and close to the mountains up here. Go ahead and pitch back and stay on top of our airspeed a little bit more because we're just climbing out. See, we're already down to less than 70 miles to go to Snettisham. We're going to be landing on a gravel strip there, I believe. A little over 3,000 feet. And it's tucked into that cove pretty darn well, so it should be interesting. Hopefully the terrain will work with us. And we should have a straight shot in. I think the runway's there. It's runway 16 tree 4. From looking at the chart, it looks like tree 4 is what we're going to want to use based off of the terrain around. Get our landing light off. And look at those mountains out in front of us. It is a absolutely beautiful day here. So we just keep climbing up, and then we'll kind of make our right turn off towards the north. Get a little bit more trim in this. Kind of help me out. Also need to get on top of the rudder. See if... So do not. It is what it is. So we're up to 3,000. Don't really have any major concerns or anything. We could go ahead and turn a little bit more on course as we depart out. Look at all the different textures in the water off in front of us. It looks pretty neat. Let's put it on a heading of about 350. Also a rare ship out here. I wish we saw more of those. So I feel like there should be quite a few boats out in this area traveling along. But we got a very rare boat just doing its thing out here. Climbing up to 4,000 feet for 6,500. Settling in on our way. It should be pretty smooth sailing from here if the weather's this nice. As kind of looked at Juneau, as that's where we're flying up to, really. Closest place that was reporting some weather, and their weather was reporting fine. There was just some little bits of fog and whatnot. So as long as that's not directly over our airport, we should be just fine. It's probably the smoothest weather I've had in Alaska, in smoothest while also being nice outside, not dreary and overcast. Looks like we are at 125 knots across the ground. What we're doing right now is we're through 55,000 feet. 50,000 feet, that would be a terrifying experience. Probably a very short experience as well. I think you'd pass out within a second in a Cessna 208. But we're looking at about 29 minutes. This makes me think of hypoxia and how terrifying that is. But just about 700 feet left to go in the climb. We'll be leveling off. Wondering if I can re-hit the direct 2. No, that does not work there. Alright, we're coming up on 6,500 feet, just about to level on out. This is a little bit of overkill for the flight, in all honesty. We don't need to climb up this high. We just got about 50 miles to go. We could climb up higher if we needed to, obviously, but we could have kept it nice and low. As well, we'll pull the power back just a little bit as we kind of trim out here at our cruise altitude. see that time come down. Hopefully we can get it down to maybe about 20 minutes or so. That'd be a nice short flight for us today. Go ahead and I think we'll just sync the heading mode. It looks like if we fly about, we could follow the GPS directly in, but we do have to fly that cove into the airfield. So I'm trying to pick out where it might be up in front of us. I think we're gonna kind of have to fly around it just a touch. Yeah, you can see how the line goes over, and then we've got a little bit of a cove all the way back in to the field. And I think that's kind of what we're seeing up in front of us right there. We'll see once we get a little bit closer. So I think there's another one over here up to the left. But it's got to be this one directly off our nose. So just keep our nose kind of pointed in that direction. That way we're set up for it. But we're about 6,500 feet, doing almost 160 knots across the ground. It looks like we're estimating about just under 21 minutes now. So we'll settle into the cruise for a little bit and enjoy the views. All right, so we're just about over Stevens Passage, right over the middle of it at the moment. Had some pretty amazing views, and also some ones that kind of let us down a little bit, as there's a couple spots in here that just don't have the satellite scenery overlaid. But it is what it is. It looks like it's getting better as we continue off in this direction, so that is a good thing. You can also see I was completely wrong about the inlet, that the one I was pointing us at is actually the one to the south, and this one over here up to the left is the one that's going to take us into the airfield. But as we've gotten closer, I think we'll just hop over this initial kind of ridgeline, and it should dip back down, and then we'll just be able to connect up through all the way into the airfield. We're looking at about 23 nautical miles now from Snettisham. Like I said, it's runway 3416, and you can kind of see in the direction we're coming in. We are basically flying heading 340 at the moment, and we're going in to the kind of little cove that it's tucked up into, and we got all those mountains up in front of us as well. So I'm going to assume, just from everything we've seen, it looks like runway 34 is what we're going to want to use for our approach in today. Getting a little bit bumpy as we're crossing over this ridgeline. We're still at 6,500 feet. I'm going to go ahead and start trimming the nose down a little bit, pull the power back a little bit as well, and start our descent. As we're just now, we're 13 miles from the field, and you can see we kind of got to snake our way through the little inlet that the airport is tucked back into. Kind of hoping we get a visual on it here before too long. I think this is actually the village right there, based off of what we're seeing on the map. It kind of jets in, darts off to the left and right, which we can see that's the left one right there, and then it turns a corner, and that looks like an airstrip. Kind of right where I have my mouse right there, that looks like that could be a little airstrip. If that is the case, definitely wanting to use runway 34. So we got to drop some altitude here, but that's not going to be a big deal. At least it shouldn't be. It looks like we have perfect visibility around us. Wind is coming kind of out of the northeast at about 6 knots at the moment, but nothing too crazy, and the scenery is definitely much more beautiful over here than some of the stuff we were flying over on the way in, which is unfortunate. But as long as it's you know, nice at least somewhere along the way. We could see Juneau all the way up here, not too far from us at all. Just look at these mountains that we're going to be descending on into. There was a more lucrative flight I could have done today. I think it was taking us back to Annette Island, but I kind of figured we'd already been there. Even if it was paying a little bit more money, sometimes just want to have a reason to go explore someplace never heard of before, and that was definitely the case with Snettisham. I just love the detail on these mountains over here. It gets a little bit better once we get closer, the resolution and everything, but even from a distance, it's looking nice. So, we got our landing lights on. We're at 4,000 feet, descending down still. We're going to keep it over the water if we can, basically, for this entire bit. Just want to keep the aircraft below 150 as we start getting a little bit closer, so we can go approach flaps out at 150, full flaps 125. We'll be looking for around 80-85 knots for our approach speed. Let's pull that power back and keep it right at 150. I'm not too worried about it beyond that. The flaps on the Caravan are very, very strong. They will help slow us down, no problem. Actually, flying the Caravan reminds me I need to look into seeing if I can get a hold of G1000 mod to see if I can get a little bit more functionality out of it, a little bit closer to the way it should be. That's definitely got to be the field that we saw, so we should have it in sight kind of as we pop around the corner here. This feels kind of like flying a Caravan back into the cove like this. Kind of feels like driving a bus down a one-way like dead-end street and then expecting to be able to turn around if it doesn't work out. That is definitely the airfield. You can see it just popping over right there. That's got to be it. Let's go ahead and go approach flaps out. It's fine if it balloons up here a little bit. Get below 125. Go full flaps. And we can just sink on down at this point. Stay nice and high over the terrain on the way in. I'm trying to thread the needle and sling this thing around to follow the water exactly on the way. Looks like we got a nice little bit of terrain here to make sure we clear as well. We're already at 85 knots. These flaps are insane. We're pointed almost 10 degrees nose down, and it's holding right around 90 knots. It's a cool little place just tucked right in the back of this little cove, right up against these mountains. Pretty awesome. Start our left turn here, try and line us up. So we're clearing around the big old cliff there to the left. Man, that's probably terrifying if you're sitting back there in the passenger seat. Alright, starting on our approach in now, final approach. About 85 knots is what we're going to aim for. Looking for just a decent spot here on the gravel. Do have a bit of a crosswind to contend with. Just going to try and hold center line with that. It's about 10 knots directly on our side. pull the power out. Should have plenty of room here. Get on the rudder. Line ourselves. Whoa. Yeah, that really kind of gusted us over there. Keep ourselves. Try and stay center line there. Man, yeah. I need to work on my crosswind landings a little bit. But at least it was, I would say that was well held. It wasn't perfectly executed, but well held. We'll taxi on down. That's a little unfortunate, but other than that, this looks like a nice little village, in all honesty. Or something. Pretty cool little area. The buildings, right tucked into the mountains, everything. We'll pull off over here and we will go through completing our flight. So let's go ahead and get the aircraft cleaned up. We'll get our flaps up. We'll go ahead and go landing light off. We'll get our strobe light off as well. Let's see, we'll get the FSEconomy client open. You can see it is still running away there and it still shows us at Kake. But if I just go down and set our parking brake, it now updates us there. You can see our Cessna 208 is on the ground at Snettisham. So that is our flight complete. I'm going to go through and shut the plane down now. Let's see, we'll leave our beacon light on. We got our parking brake set. All of that is good. So we'll go ahead now and just go for... we got fuel boost off. All of that's off. We'll go ahead and go mixture cutoff. We'll pull the prop all the way back. Go ahead and get our avionics off. Apparently that is now what triggers our flight being complete. And go ahead and get our beacon light off now. Battery off. And then close up the fuel tanks. That is us on the ground and our flight complete today. Just a short hop, but I hope you all did enjoy it. It's always fun flying the Cessna 208, especially kind of just hand flying it around through some of these areas. So hopefully we can find some more cool areas like this to fly into. But either way, I've enjoyed having you guys along. Thank you, as always, for all the support. And yeah, you guys are awesome. So until next time, bye-bye.